Here is the basement where 3 people lived. There is the camera. They charge $160 a week for this death trap. Unfinished ceiling, flooded floors, debris everywhere, and this is the nice house. Surprisingly nice bathroom though.
My landlord got mad at me for taping up things on my wall, and they spied through my window to see that I had things on my wall. So I bought privacy decals. Congratulations, your visualization privileges have been demoted to kaleidoscope.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. You don't know, it's your favorite island girl Jody from the 876, and today we are back with another wild story time compilation for you, and trust me, you're gonna want to see this one. Today's topic is next level crazy. We're talking about landlords from hell. You know, the ones who take being petty to a whole different extreme? Yes. From outrageous rules to unbelievable drama, trust me, I've gathered some of the wildest landlord versus tenant stories from TikTok that will make you glad that you're not living in their building. Please remember to like this video, guys. It's an easy and a free way to support my channel. Also, subscribe if you're new to become a part of the Islanders family, because you know I love the community that we are building. Now I have to know, have you ever dealt with a landlord from hell, or just someone who is just unbelievable petty? Please share your experiences and thoughts, of course, down in the comment section. Without further ado, let's get into today's video.
Room for $2,000, I doubt it.
Okay.
She paid half her rent once.
Okay.
And a $500 security.
I'll upload all of the proof that I paid rent. I'll upload all of the proof that I paid rent. I will upload all Zelle receipts. Okay, I'm gonna let him talk, y'all.
Listen, does what she's saying make sense?
Yes. I'll post all the receipts that I paid rent.
You post a lot of things.
I'll post all the receipts that I paid rent.
Don't make it real.
Okay. I have a lawyer. Let him come over and speak in a calm way. He won't. I'll be quiet. Omar, you want to say
You're
something?
not a lawyer, but I got a protective order, and someone else got a protective order, but you're being harassed?
Yes.
You need a new lawyer.
Okay. So, just like I told you guys, I had to get a lawyer through a program that helps with restraining orders.
Because you don't have a job.
Right.
You don't have no money.
Right, Omari.
You scam weed. You moved in broke. You a squatter.
Okay. So, I had to get a lawyer through a program. That's the crazy one, laughing behind the door. I had to get a lawyer through a program. They can only help with certain things because I can't keep on wasting my money doing all types of stuff. Okay. All right. So I had to get a protective order through a program that helps with stuff like this. And they
Protective order online in DC for free. Stop lying.
And what's your address? Because you won't change your address so I can serve
I do
you.
all the time. You can serve me if you wanted to.
Okay, Omari.
All the time. You're lying.
Okay. I'm lying. You're definitely acting innocent.
Why was asking those questions? Those are good questions.
You're definitely
Ask
acting
questions.
innocent.
You see how the math don't add up.
You're definitely acting
Her
innocent.
camera getting taken down.
He has a protective order, you guys. Why is he talking to me?
You got a camera first. The camera
Me.
The person has a protective order.
I got a camera first. I'm going to upload the videos that they're not her cameras. I definitely was. Okay, so post the videos. Tell her to post the videos. Tell her to post the videos. Post the videos of my harassment. Post the videos of my harassment. Post the videos of me harassing anybody. I will literally post them myself. Email them to me and I will post them.
You keep it up.
I will.
Because you won't be posting.
Omar, no, but post the videos of me harassing you guys. I will upload them. I promise you. Email them to me and I will upload all the videos of me harassing you guys. Read your comments out loud. Move in silence. Please don't let them know what you're doing. I will. Let him come over and speak in a calm way. He won't. Did you call the cops and file a police report when they broke into your room? Did you call the police and file a police report when they broke into your room? I came home.
I told her to call the police, and she said she was talking to her boyfriend.
Okay.
That's crazy.
They're talking about a different video. They're talking about a different video.
Watch the video. Watch the first one.
They're talking about a different video, Amari. You have a protective order. Leave me alone.
And I told her to call the police. She didn't want to do it.
Omari, bye. How late long till you're able to leave without a headache? When I have the finances to do so.
You don't have a job.
Right.
Why you don't have a job?
Right.
Tell them that.
Right.
Why you trying to leverage social media? With lies.
Because I've been harassed since January and nothing has happened.
So why you still here?
Because I don't have the money to
Long time
move.
be somewhere being harassed.
Are you going to give me my money back like I asked you to? Are you going to give me my money back like I asked you to? Because I asked you to give me back the money I paid you so I could leave and you didn't. That's why I'm still
Or you
here.
post a video. That's extortion, sweetie.
I said if you give me my money back, I will not.
I got the text.
I do too.
And I got the video.
I do too. I literally do too, Omari. I literally do too, Omari.
Where you said I won't post this if you pay me.
Can they share videos of the break-in on their camera? They won't. They literally won't.
Look, when you gotta
Omari, you have a protective order. Stop talking to me. You have a protective order. Stop talking to me.
you got a warrant for your arrest, I'm recording this thing.
I definitely have a warrant for my arrest. You're right.
No, you don't yet, but you will.
Okay, right, definitely. Stop talking to me. So as I was saying,
Listen, no job,
okay, Omari.
no family,
All right.
no resources.
Right.
It's gonna be tough out here.
Right.
It's hot outside.
And that's why you targeted me. Thank you so much. That's why you targeted me, isn't it?
That's what you said on
That's why you targeted me, huh?
That's what you said on social.
And you're watching, aren't you? Oh, silence.
Like you said, I got people watching.
I'll ignore him. But yeah, I literally just had to. There was a young woman in here by the name of Damani that was sitting in here reporting my live. And I did not get any action in this live until I blocked and reported her. And as soon as people start coming in, then he starts talking. So apparently when I said I would be getting my own Wi-Fi, the landlord thought I would be dumb enough to put it in the common area. So he literally came just to take out I don't really know what the cord is called, but that's what he came for. And that would be the reason why stalker number 3 was blasting her music.
You were just served a few minutes ago, but you know you violated.
Oh, I know. Violated what?
You violated the court order, the anti-stalking order that you were just served with.
You're my landlord. Go away. Y'all doing all this because y'all mad that I'm still here. As soon as I got served with the papers for the protective order, I knew that this was going to become a sticky situation very quick. So I had already ordered a Ring camera. So this video that I posted was actually a recording of his reaction when he saw the camera for the first time in person. I went out of town on March 7th and I did not come back until March 17th. And my camera was disconnected and my room was broken into. I had changed the lock to my door so that he wouldn't have a key to my door because I didn't want him to have access to my room. They started to retaliate some. So the first thing that they did was they changed the Wi-Fi password. The Wi-Fi is still up and active. I just no longer have the password, but they reconnected the security cameras that I posted and their devices to the Wi-Fi, just not mine. So apparently filed another protective order against me. He's probably going to try to get it to where I can't post any more videos. That's what this is for. So I'm sitting in my room, right, just completely relaxing, minding my business, and I hear a loud bang. I open my door and I see this on the floor. These are the pieces to the mount that was holding my Ring camera to my door. So at the same time that I noticed that the pieces to my mount are on the floor, I noticed that my camera is missing. Shortly after that, I noticed that my front door, the door to the apartment, is wide open. So immediately I'm in pursuit. I literally go downstairs and I open the front door and I see a man in a Scully. He has my Ring camera in his hand. He throws it on the ground. He then runs and gets in a car that's parked at the end of the block. This is the aftermath of the attempted theft, I guess. Y'all, when I say I was literally gonna wait until after court to post an update, but like, weirdos never sleep. So I was supposed to have mediation today for the complaint that I filed against the landlord way back in March. So I get up this morning and I'm emailing them like, hey, send me the link for the meeting, looking forward to meeting, blah, blah, blah. They literally respond back saying, hey, we sent you an email. I guess you didn't get it, but we had to cancel the meeting because the landlord is going to be out of town. Now, I immediately knew that this was BS, but really, what can you do, right? So I responded and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm cool with rescheduling, whatever. Maybe 30 minutes later, there is a knock at the front door. Surprise, surprise, it's the police. While Omari is out of town, he has showed up to my front door with the police in his temporary order claiming violation. Not to mention, this is the third day in a row that the police have been knocking on my door. So you're out of town, you can't meet to mediate the complaint that I filed against you, but you can show up to my door with the police 3 days in a row? Mind you guys, I literally have court today because I filed a motion to vacate on the protective order that the roommate has. And why did I just receive a call, literally while I was recording this video, that she filed a motion to modify as well? Another motion to modify. And she's literally requesting that I not be allowed to touch her personal belongings? Like she hasn't thrown away my food, and thrown my laundry out of the dryer. Like, mental illness is very serious. What is going on?
So imagine this. You've been living in your apartment and everything is going fine. And then boom, your landlord just kicks you out because your lease is up. Like seriously? No chance to renew? No discussion? Just, well, your time is up and you gotta go. I get it that a lease or a contract has an end date, but what about the humanity? No heads up, no consideration for the fact that you may need time to find a new place? Come on. And that is exactly what happened in the next clip that we're about to see. Let's take a look.
What do you think you're doing?
Sorry?
Yeah, this is all my stuff. What are you doing?
Your contract has been terminated, essentially.
Well, you can't do that.
Well, I obviously can.
Well, I'm going to say, you've changed the locks and you've gone through all my personal stuff and you've put it outside. What do you think you're doing?
I've packed all of your belongings perfectly neatly. Everything's in there that you need.
Who gave you permission to do that? You can't go through my personal
things. Darling, I don't need permission. It's my property. And
of course you need permission.
No.
These are my items. These are my things.
Yes, exactly. It's all organised for you.
Why have you done this?
In terms of the contract, like I say, it has been terminated, so there are new tenants moving into the property.
Why didn't you discuss this with me before you terminated it?
That's with immediate effect.
Why are you terminating the contract?
Because I've been offered more money for the property, and ultimately this is a business. I know it's not what you want to hear, but this is what's happened. Yes,
are you serious?
I'm serious. I can actually refer you to a studio for rent if you're still looking for somewhere.
What are you talking about? I still live here. This is my place.
No, I'm so sorry, Mr. Johnson, you don't anymore.
Well, you know you don't have the right to do that.
Yeah, but I think that if you do actually refer to the contract, you will see.
Well, I will refer to a contract and then I'll get solicitors involved.
Okay.
How'd you like that?
I mean, the biggest thing here is that, as you know, it is a 4-bedroom house and you are single.
What does that matter?
Well, because you don't have any children or a partner, and you know, it's just not really conducive for me as a business.
Oh, does it say that in the contract? You've got to have a family to live in a 4-bedroom house?
No, it doesn't, but...
Right then, so that doesn't matter?
The contract is at my discretion.
What are you talking about?
I'm sorry, it's over for you here.
I have been a renter in British Columbia for 10 years now, and I need to talk about how horrible basement suite landlords are. These are the landlords that rent out their basement and then they and their family live in the upper part of the house. So over the past 10 years, I have lived in purpose-built rentals, so rental buildings that are owned by like a property management company. And that experience was pretty decent. It wasn't the worst, wasn't the best, but like overall, pretty decent to live. I've also lived in privately owned suites, so condos. I'm currently in a townhouse, and those have been my best rental experiences. I find those landlords are the ones that are the best landlords, but the basement suite landlords, they think that you are just the scum of the earth and you exist solely to pay their mortgage and that you're not a real human being actually living in the space that they're renting you. I lived in one really awful basement suite between 2014 and 2016. I can make a whole other video on that, but I want to make a video about the rental suite that I just moved out of this week. It was a basement suite in Surrey, and my landlord's family lived upstairs, and it was probably one of the worst renting experiences of my life. I lived there for just under 2 years. And so it started when I moved in, and anytime I cooked, like used the oven, the smoke alarm went off. And it's because the smoke detector was right above the oven door. So when you opened it, the heat came up and just set off the smoke detector. And so my landlord's solution to that was telling me not to use the oven, like ever. So I just got an air fryer and pretty much never used the oven. So the next was that he told me that I wasn't allowed to have guests. He had noticed that my girlfriend was coming and going a couple of times a week and staying the night, and he texted me and said, just so you know, you're not allowed to have another tenant, you're not allowed to have overnight guests. And I was like, actually, yes I am, like that's actually against the law, you can't tell me that. And I did look that up, and I called the rental board and they were like, no, he can't tell you that. And so I said, actually I am allowed to have overnight guests, and he did not like that. He did not like that I was sticking up for my rights. The next is that when I would receive packages at the door, he would frequently take it. And I actually one time had an iPhone delivered, and I was watching the tracking like every 5 minutes. I knew it was getting delivered, and then I refreshed it and it said just delivered, and I went out, it wasn't there. And so I messaged him and I was like, hey, did you happen to take a package just now? And he was like, nope, I didn't. And so he's like, well, there's a lot of porch pirates, so it probably got stolen. And I was like, in 2 minutes in Cloverdale, like Clayton Heights? No, this is a pretty safe neighborhood. As it turns out, his son came outside and took it. And yeah, I got it back. He one time opened another package of books and then told me to stop getting packages delivered to the house. The last 3 weeks of living there were absolute hell. He gave me absolutely no notice anytime he needed to come into the apartment and wanted to show it like every single day to multiple people. And that's a whole other story in itself. I'm out of time. Maybe there's a part 2.
I'm really curious if this has happened to anybody else, but I'm fully convinced that my old apartment had cameras installed in it by my landlord, and he used to use that info to like with us. I really need you to watch this entire video because I need to know that I'm not crazy. And if you feel like you've wasted your time, drop your electronic payment, whatever that might be, and I'll send you $1. All right, so this is about 15 years ago. I found this 2-bedroom apartment for a really good deal on Craigslist. So I reached out to the guy and I was like, hey, would love to come and see this place. He was like, I don't meet my tenants in person, but I'm gonna leave the place unlocked to go take a look at it. I was like, sure, kind of weird. So I go and look at it and I was like, hey, awesome place, would love to meet you and seal the deal. And he was like, I'm just gonna leave the keys there. It's yours. We'll figure out payment and stuff. Go ahead and move in. He's like, my mom owns the place. Remember this. He's like, my mom owns the place, but I'm gonna be taking care of all the business stuff. We move in. Both my roommate and I at the time, independent of each other, every time we were home alone, the place had that undeniable feeling that we were being watched. You know, that instinctual feeling you feel in the pit of your stomach? We felt it every single time. And after weeks of being there together, we shared with each other, hey, we have this feeling. And we were like, oh my gosh, I have that feeling too. That's so crazy. And after we voiced this, then the weird started happening. He did the smallest, craziest things to make us feel like we were insane. And the first thing that he did was we had these key rings that we used to set our keys on every single day without fail. In the middle of the night, somebody broke into our place or let themselves in and took my house key off of my key ring and set my key rings back there. So the next day when I went to work and I came back home, I didn't have my key. I called my roommate. She's like, I didn't take the key. Why would I do that? I was like, I don't know. Did you do that? And I was like, it wasn't me. She's like, it wasn't me. We got into an argument, whatever. I break into the place and find my house key neatly sat on my bedside table. And I called my roommate and I was like, this happened. She was like, this weird. This one he did was up. So my roommate was dating this guy. And she had him over and they were dating for a while, but he never opened up about his dad who had passed away. And on some random night, he decided to open up about his dad had passed away. He finally said his name for the first time, and let's call him Frank Grimes. So he's talking about Frank Grimes and how like it was really sad when he passed and they had like a really tender moment. They really bonded. He left and she actually left to go visit her mom. And she goes and she's visiting her mom and she randomly checks her MySpace page. And if you remember MySpace at the time, on the bio, at the very last thing, it said things like, oh, you know, like what are your hobbies? And the very last thing was like who you would like to meet. And who she had originally put was like Paul McCartney and Marilyn Monroe and whomever. And when she checked on that very same night, she had saw that it said all the people that she had said, and the very last name it said was Frank Grimes, which was the name of her boyfriend's father who had passed away, who she had just learned of that night. So she called me freaked out, crying, being like, did you do this? Did you do this? And she was like freaking out. I was like, no, I don't even know what you're talking about. How can I get into your MySpace account? How could I even know this name? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like freaking out. She was crying. Stay with me. So this one is also creepy. I had the same schedule every single day. We used to go to class from like 6 a.m. to like 11 a.m. and then I used to go to work from like 11:30 a.m. till about 5 p.m. every single day, Monday through Friday. But I was on spring break, and so my schedule was different. And I didn't park close to my place because I got home late. So it looked like nobody was home. So I'm in my apartment getting ready to go to work because I didn't have school, but it looked like my car was gone. And I'm in the shower and I'm getting out of the shower, drying off, whatever, singing Kelly Clarkson, whatever I'm doing. And all of a sudden I hear my front door open and my roommate is out of town. I hear my front door open and shut and I hear steps coming up the stairs of my apartment. And I'm frozen because I know my roommate is for sure gone. And I hear steps outside of the bathroom. I'm butt ass naked. And I'm like, hello? And the steps stop in front of my bathroom door. And they stop and they're silent. And I was like, who the f- is in my apartment? And the voice says, I'm here to fix the light. And I was like, there's no light that needs to be fixed. Get the out of my apartment. And I'm like shaking with like fright and adrenaline. And then he's like, oh, sorry. And I hear him scatter away and open the front door and leave immediately. I call my room and I was like, what the happened? And she's like, oh my God, you need to get out of the apartment. And then I get another call and I don't recognize the number. And I was like, I'm getting another call. I'm going to answer it. So I answer it and it is the landlord. And he was like, hey, I'm so sorry. I heard that someone went into the apartment. And I was like, yeah, what was that about? And he's like, sorry, your another apartment needed a light fixed. And I'm so sorry. He went into the wrong apartment. And I was like, okay, no big deal. He's like, I'm so sorry about that. Okay, I hung up. And I was thinking about it and I was like, so not only did he say the wrong apartment, but he also gave him the keys to the wrong apartment. And that didn't sit well with me. So I asked all the other tenants, I said, did you guys need a light fixed? And every single one of them said no. No one needed a light fixed. So I told my roommate, I was like, I've like had a like they were in there repairing something else. And in my heart, I was like, they're in there to fix the cameras because something happened where they didn't know I was home and they needed to fix the cameras. So we both decide we're going to move out. She calls the landlord. She's like, hey, we're going to be moving out. He was like, oh, are you sure? Like, you guys were such great tenants. And she's like, yeah, we're sure. And he was like, what about Chris? Does he want to stay? And she was like, well, he can't really afford a 2-bedroom apartment by himself. So he's going to move out. And he's like, well, what if I drop the rent so that he can afford it? And she was like, I don't think he's going to want to stay. Because why would you do that? This is the creepy conclusion. Years later, I'm talking about this with a group of friends. And I'm talking about all these stories and they're getting really creeped out. And someone in the group is like, tell me the address because I need to get to the bottom of this. And I was like, sure. So I tell them the address. And they look up the address and they find out the guy's name. They find out the mother's name. And they also find out that the guy worked in surveillance. He worked in security and he worked in surveillance. Not only that, but my friend also found out that the mom who had owned the building had died back in the 90s. So he was pretending that his mom was alive and was the true owner of the building this entire time. Thank you if you stuck around this long. Tell me I'm not crazy.
Of course, you're not crazy, but your whole living situation, no. That is a mess. Wait guys, there is more. Before we go to the next clips, please ensure that you have hit the thumbs up button on this video. Now let's see if he really got to the bottom of this.
A ton of you were asking for a part 2, so here you go. So there is another part that I left out. And it's the part where I go back to the apartment to talk to the tenants that live there. I left this out of the other video because I didn't think people were gonna listen to the entire video, but you guys were eating it up. This is after I had that revelation that that he worked in surveillance. This is years later. He worked in surveillance and that he pretended that his mom was still alive. I'm talking with my old roommate. We don't live together anymore at this time. And she's like, this is insane. We knew it. We knew that this guy was like spying on us. So we're like driving around the neighborhood. We're like, we're just gonna go drive to the old apartment. You see that there's lights on in the apartment and like people are home. Like we want to go talk to them. Like, how am I gonna do this? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna knock on the door and I'm gonna be like, look, I used to live in this apartment. An old job of mine sent some paperwork, like an old W-2. They said they sent it here. Did it by any chance come to this apartment? That's gonna be our cover story. She's like, yeah, let's do it. So I walk up to the door and I knock on the door. And this like little meek little blonde girl comes up to the door and she's like, hello? And I was like, hi, and I'm with my roommate at the time. So sorry to bother you. And this is like 7 p.m. at night. And I was like, I told her the story about the W-2 and she was like, oh no, I didn't see anything. And I was like, oh, that's a bummer. By the way, have you ever felt anything weird? Anything weird happen in this apartment? And she was like, why do you ask? And then as soon as I say that, another set of feet come down the stairs and it's her roommate. And they're both listening to me and I was like, oh, no worries. Like we used to live here and just like little weird things used to happen. Like things used to go missing and we just kind of felt like we were being watched. And one of the roommate, her eyes dart over to the other roommate and they look at each other. And she was like, well, sometimes we kind of feel like we're being watched. And I was like, oh my God, girl! I was like, no. I was like, okay. And then I started telling the story and I was like, I have zero proof of this. Like, I know it's random that some random couple of people just walked up to you and just are feeding your paranoia, but just girl, like watch back. And they looked at each other, obviously scared because some random person knocks on your door and feeds into your paranoia. Anyway. Into part 3 of I'm convinced that cameras were secretly recording me inside of my apartment that I found off of Craigslist. This is a common question that I keep getting asked, that if I looked for the cameras or if I found any cameras. And I'll say, like, when this all started, you know, you don't want to feed into your own paranoia that this could actually be possible. So your mind is like trying to fill in the blanks with other possibilities. And at the time, my roommate was convinced that it was like paranormal. I told her that I was making these videos and she sent me this audio clip.
Really feel like when we would go there, we would like get into our apartment and like stuff was not the way that we left it. Like our stuff would be moved around. And also, yeah, I feel like stuff went missing. We wrote checks to his mom, but she was dead.
Because things in our apartment kept getting like switched around, or like we would come home and there would be like a cabinet that was just open, or like something was moved from one part of the apartment to the other, like random stuff like that happened, paired with this idea that we kept feeling like we were being watched. It did kind of feel like is this place haunted? So before we started looking for cameras, we were thinking like, it's like a ghost in here, which was probably part of the sick game that the landlord was playing. Because like I was in this apartment and I kept feeling like there was like a ghost or something in this place, I would have like these crazy nightmares that I would wake up in the middle of the night and someone would be standing in my room looking at me. And when I would wake up the next day, I would think, did that actually happen? And to this day, I kind of don't know if it happened or not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's possible that he was standing in my room because he was probably that crazy. When I did have the thought that there could be cameras, I did like check the vents. I did not check things like smoke detectors, which I'm finding that a lot of people have found hidden cameras in like their smoke detectors and like other different things. But like at the time, I was young. I was like 22 at the time, and I was poor because I was like working full time. I was going to school full time. I was like paying my own way through school and paying my own rent. Didn't have any help. So like cheap rent was like appealing. Mind you, like the hidden camera thing didn't fully get realized like in my brain until years later when I found out that he lied about his mother still being alive and being the owner of the building. And 2, that he worked in like tech and surveillance, and security and stuff. So I didn't really connect all those dots until years later that yes, he actually probably did have cameras in there. And I'm gonna go back to the end of my part 2 where I kind of unintentionally left you on a cliffhanger, where I go back to the apartment and speak to the new tenants that live in the building. So after I spoke to them and I freaked them out like on their doorstep, which, sorry girls, if you're out there on TikTok, reach out to me, make yourself known. After I gave them the warning and I said, hey, like just like watch your back, they kind of were like scared and looked at each other. They were kind of like scared of us, right? Because like 2 strangers just like came and like freaked them on their doorstep, and they had to go back into their apartment where I was saying that there's possibly hidden cameras watching you and a crazy landlord there who they also said they had never met. So they kind of looked scared at us, and we weren't gonna like come back for an update or like exchange information because I don't think that they wanted to have anything to do with us. So unfortunately I cannot give you an update on those 2 girls. I have a reason why I didn't go to the police, which is like really stupid. Maybe I'll talk about that in the next part. I'm like shocked. I'm like kind of shaky right now, sorry. Through the magic of TikTok, someone actually found the footage of my roommate and I in those hidden cameras that my landlord installed in that old apartment. They dug them up, they found it, and they sent it to me. So thank you to that user that sent me that. I'm about to play that footage right now, but I just have to give you a disclaimer. Like a lot of people thought it was gonna be like us, you know, with no clothes on or doing something like spicy. But in reality, it's much worse, and I'm so sorry. I just have to say before I play the footage that my roommate and I were very big fans of the 2007 VMA performance of Britney Spears' Give Me More. You've been warned. Stick around for after the video because I'm going to talk about why I never went to the cops.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up.
Okay, so obviously that was a joke. That wasn't from the footage. That was an old video that my roommate and I took. We've been like best friends since we were like 13 years old. If footage out there exists of my roommate and I, it would honestly look a lot like that. So you're welcome, internet. But I also wanted to cover the question is like, why didn't you go to the cops? We had zero proof. Like we had nothing tangible to prove. But I did want to tell a little story of something that happened about 4 months before I moved into that like crazy apartment with the hidden cameras, to give you a little bit of context as to like my relationship with the LAPD. So it's about 4:30 in the morning and I'm heading home from somebody's house from a spicy encounter I had in Los Angeles. And I'm on the 101 freeway and I'm driving, and this like drunk driver behind me is like right on my tail, tailgating me, and then swerves beside me and then slams in the side of my Ford Explorer at the time, and then freaks out and then like swerves away and flies down the 101 freeway. I got the first 4 digits of his license plate number and like the fact that it was like a white Toyota SUV. So I call the LAPD and I'm like, this just happened to me. They're like, we're gonna send over a couple units. So these 2 cops come over, and as soon as they come over, I'm like telling them the story. This is what happened. This is like the type of car that they had. This is the first 4 digits of the license plate. And they're looking at me with like a blank stare and their hands just kind of like on their belts. And they're just looking at me completely disinterested. And as soon as I finish speaking, they say, okay, what do you want us to do about it? And I was like, I don't know, your job? Like, what are you talking about? I didn't say that, obviously, but they were like, I was like, well, like you're supposed to go get them, right? And they were like, well, we don't know who it is. Do you know who it is? I was like, no, it was like a random person on the freeway. Of course I don't know who it is. And they're like, well, you don't have any proof, or you don't have like any evidence, or you don't have their full license plate. I don't know, we can't go get them. So they literally just left me on the side of the road, just being like, sorry, like best of luck to you. And I was like, that is so. So like a couple of months later when this hidden camera thing happened, I was like, I cannot call the LAPD because literally they act like this when you kind of need them. So I was like, I have no proof, like what am I supposed to do? Anyway, that's the main reason why I didn't go to LAPD.
This one gets me every time. Imagine you're paying your rent every month, doing everything that is right as a tenant, and when something breaks or goes wrong, utter silence. The landlord is nowhere to be found. Like, hello? Maintenance is literally a part of your job. Honestly, some landlords act like fixing damages is doing you a favor when it is basically their responsibility. I mean, my personal opinion, if you can't maintain your property, you should not be renting it out. What do you think? Have you ever had a landlord who refuses to fix things when they're broken?
One time, my roommates and I spent like a good month complaining to our landlord because our ceiling was leaking profusely because the people above us refused to use a shower curtain. And after not listening to us for a month, he was like, don't worry, I got you, we got you. They came in and they cut out our ceiling. They just took it out, confiscated the ceiling. Ceiling privileges revoked, no more ceiling for us. For like a good month, you would just like be in the bathroom, you'd look up and you'd just see like building bones and pipes, no ceiling. And they weren't actively working on it either. They just took away the ceiling and left it like that for a very long time. It was like we were being punished. Bad tenants, no more ceiling for you.
I am going to try to make this video without crying, but I am pissed. So I have a question for the TikTok attorneys, lawyers, anyone that can answer this goddamn question. So a little bit of backstory. We moved out of state and we just got to Tennessee in June. The house that we rented, we were able to see prior to renting it. They did a video walkthrough, but there is one thing you cannot see through a video walkthrough, and that's smell. When we got to this house, the smell was awful. We found out very quickly from the neighbors that the people who were in this house prior to us trashed it. They were evicted and left the house in shambles. We found out that the smell was the basement insulation was literally covered in mouse pee and poop. And when I say covered, like saturated. Before our stuff arrived, we pushed and they did remove all of that insulation. Now the house still has this lingering smell that I'm literally about to lose my mind about. We realized the other day that we have a mouse, maybe a couple. I really think it's only one. So we set out traps and we had the thought, like, let's see, we know he's in the attic. Like there's no evidence of it being in the basement. So we tried to get into our attic. The entry into the attic is in our pantry. So we had to remove everything out of the pantry and we take down this piece of wood that's literally screwed to the wall or the ceiling. We take that down. I'm just gonna show you. Trigger warning, it's gross. This is that piece of wood. That is all my. Now this is the entry into the attic, and it's covered by insulation. I think you just move the insulation out of the way, but as you can tell, it's covered in mice as well. We informed the property manager right away about what we found. She is telling me that the owner will not replace and clean the attic. He will not replace the insulation, no matter that it is literally saturated in shit. He's trying to tell me that they are not legally obligated to replace the insulation. They don't even have to provide air conditioning. Yeah, I get that, but like, this is unsanitary. Like, this is problems. We can smell it to a degree, and if we can smell it, I know that it is affecting our breathing, and that has the potential of causing major health issues. My husband has asthma, and it's literally falling through the walls and getting into the house. The baseboards do not touch the floor. There's a gap on the baseboards that go around almost the entire house. I'll show you. So there's this gap, and we've even had at points in our dining room where insulation and like nesting from the mouse was coming out of the wall, and it had mouse shit. So do I have a case? Is the landlord obligated to remove all the contaminated insulation and get that cleaned up? This is just one of what feels like a million issues we have had with this house since the moment we moved in. I'm literally losing my mind over this shit.
Hi Jackson, it's Josie. I'm just calling with regards to this email that I've just got through about the rent increase. Well, I mean, obviously, you know, it's quite a big increase.
Oh, it's not that much. It's not that much.
Well, yeah, it's £100 that it's gone up by. So I'm just a bit shocked as to why it's gone up. We have just renewed the contract and said a set price that we were happy to move forward with, and now you're springing this like increase on me. So you're raising the costs for what reason?
Well, I've recently had a baby. My wife's just had a baby, and the money's got to come from somewhere, you know. I've got to afford maintenance on your place. Like, how many times have you called me out, like, for plumbing and stuff? And every time I've sent a man there in days, and I've got it fixed. That's because I'm a good landlord. It's
absolutely ridiculous, Jackson. I shouldn't have to deal with the price increase because you're having a baby.
Well, it's really nothing. What is that? 25 quid a week? Can you not make 25 quid a week? Are you that lazy? Do you not work? Listen, you can have all the problems with it that you want, but at the end of the day, you signed in the contract, so you're in here or you're not. You either pay the rent that I'm asking, or I'll give you a week to get rid of your stuff, and that's me being nice, because I wouldn't usually give people a week. I'd usually give them 24 hours. You've got two choices. You either pay the 100 quid or you don't, and you leave.
Wow, that was a wild ride. Incredible and a little terrifying. How many stories of petty landlords and crazy tenant drama are out there? It is just too much to name. Whether it's absurd rules, ridiculous evictions, or just plain neglect, it seems like some landlords really take care of being the worst. Remember though, you're not alone if you have faced a similar struggle. These experiences are so common. If you have enjoyed these videos, please ensure to give it a thumbs up and share with someone who you know that has had their fair share of landlord nightmares. Also, a big shout out to all the creators in today's video, because let me tell you, they kept their cool despite all the craziness. Now they are the real MVPs. This is where we will wrap up today's video. As usual, don't forget to like this video, guys, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss when I upload another crazy story time or reaction video. And if you want to see more videos like these, please go ahead and click that up next video on your screen so you can go ahead and watch more crazy story times. As always, guys, I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much again. My name is Jody, and I aspire to inspire. Until next time, guys, walk good.